Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app on Apple Podcasts, on Android, Spotify, or the Five Reasons YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. Our subscriber server is $2.99 per month. Go right to the link in the description. You'll bypass the Apple upcharge. You get access to the most heat information and conversation. You can go all night long. They go till 4 in the morning on there. And yes, you can mute it if you need to. So check it out. It's Off the Floor. Also, check out the great sponsors of the Five Reasons Sports Network. Includes Prize Picks. Use the code 5 FIVE. Put down $5. You get $50 to play. This is our daily fantasy partner. Is legal in the state of Florida. You can play all the sports together. Pick your favorite athletes up to 6. And again, use the code 5. You put down 5. You get 50 to play. And now today's special episode with Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, how you doing?
It's good to be back with you. And now today's floor plan, we've got Davion Mitchell. He's known as Off Night, one of the recent additions to the Miami Heat. He's now starting for the Miami Heat. He's joining us from Cleveland. First thing, we really appreciate you doing this. Want to introduce you to Heat fans a little bit more, although you've introduced yourself with your play so far. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
I want to start here because I think that most fans don't recognize like the real life circumstances, like when you're traded in
Mhm.
the middle of a season. What was that process like for you, especially because we were dealing with the when they were going to trade Jimmy, how that was going to happen, who they were
Right,
going to get, and there were all these parts to the deal. It's coming out on social media. First they're getting PJ Tucker, then they're getting somebody else, then all of a
right,
sudden, oh no, they're getting Davion Mitchell, and we knew kind of that you were a player that the Heat liked for a long time. We actually talked about you on the podcast a few times. Like they need a point of attack defender,
right.
and so your name had come up a lot. But from your standpoint as a person, not just a player, what is that like? How do you get informed? What are the plans that go into all that? I mean, you're uprooting your entire life at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew. I tell you the beginning of the process where I was in situations in Toronto where I was starting some games when Emmanuel quickly was out, and then when he came back, I got like a lot of DMPs. So it kind of made sense. They drafted a younger guy in Jamal Shea, who's a really good point guard in our league. I mean, he's learning a lot, and I was just playing more minutes, and then you start to see that they want to play the young guys, and then the coach came up to me and told me like, "Yo, we want to play our young guys, basically give them the chance." And I understood it, especially for their future. I just knew I wasn't a part of it, so I kind of got the feeling in. So I knew during the trade deadline I was going to get traded. It wasn't like a surprise to me. The surprise was I didn't know where really. You had a couple
Mhm.
teams in mind who, I mean, who you thought was going to be there, who you thought needed a point of attack defender, who kind of needed that position. And Miami was also a place where there was a first team I ended up telling my agent, like, yo, I really want to go here.
Mhm.
But he told me the situation with Jimmy Butler, he didn't really know what the direction they were going to go in. So it was kind of tough to even think about that. So we're just thinking about other teams and things like that. But I kind of knew. I remember it was crazy. Both times I got traded, I always took a nap and then I wake up to someone waking me up and be like, "Yo, your agent called you." So he called me, just telling me like, "Yo, it's gonna be Miami," and I was like, "What?" It was crazy because I'm like, "Yo, no way, I'm going to Miami." He's like, yeah, we got you in Miami, so I was super excited. I kind of already had like my stuff packed up a little bit.
Mhm.
Like I said, I already kind of knew before. It wasn't really a surprise to me. So for me, I was ready to get to work, get to Miami. Especially the weather in Toronto wasn't the greatest at the time, so I was ready to get out of there anyways at that time. So I was definitely ready to get the Florida weather.
Yeah, the coldest I've ever been in my life, Davion, was the All-Star game in 2016 in Toronto. And we walked up from the tunnel once,
Mhm.
myself and another media person. We're like, we're not doing that again. Like
No,
it's a great city. It's a beautiful city,
for
but
sure.
it is cold. And you falling asleep and then finding out you're traded is like, you go to the bathroom when you're at a restaurant, your food comes. So if you
Okay.
want to get traded, especially in Miami, just pass out. So were you aware of their sort of long-term interest in you though, because you were a name that came up quite a few times when we've talked about them wanting a point of attack defender.
Not necessarily. I mean, you kind of have the like. I always thought I was gonna fit. I always thought I was gonna fit well in Miami's system and culture that they have here. And then you see a couple. You look on social media, you see people saying, "Oh, he'll fit here," but like you don't really listen to those people all the time. So it was just I didn't really have a thought about it. I always wanted to be here. I just never thought it was going to be a chance for me to get here. Especially with the decision I couldn't really make that decision. It was like up in the air. So, I mean, but like I said before, I'm excited to be here. And yeah, like I said, I'm ready to work.
So, you talk about how this was, even though like a lot of times players, when they speak about getting traded in the middle of the season, it's more of a surprise. And for you, it's kind of different because you had already gotten that idea, knowing that Toronto was going to trade you at some point. With
Mm-hmm.
that being said, now that you've had some time here
Mm-hmm.
in Miami, I mean, you're a quick like fan favorite. Like people, I think it's one of those things where your skill set is something that Heat fans and the Heat in general were just craving so much because they felt like that was something that was sorely needed in the rotation. Like how is it? How is it from your end to be traded in the middle of the season, right? Whereas usually a tumultuous thing, but then you come over here and you're received so well by the fans for doing essentially the dirty work.
I mean, it was easy for me. I mean, just because everywhere I played at, I mean, I played the same way. In college, I played the same way. Just it was a little bit more offensively. Well, it seemed like that because it's not that many possessions. So when you score the ball in college, it's like, oh, snap, he's really good offensively. This is that. But I think that when I was with the Kings, I was doing the dirty work. Even in Toronto, when I was playing there. I got the ball. I got to show my playmaking abilities more because I had the ball in my hands. But I also was still doing the dirty work, guarding people 94 feet. And that's kind of just the way I play it, the way I play the game. It's like not another way I can play the game, honestly. So for me, it was pretty easy because I got to be myself. And then Coach Spo made it super easy for me. Just go out there and do you. Because we like you for who you are. So don't change anything. Keep being aggressive on both ends of the floor. And yeah, so it was easy for me to go out there and just do what I needed to do to try to win games.
And I remember recently you spoke about kind of, the labels that get thrown out there by I guess fans, media alike,
Yeah.
where it's like, you get kind of a label thrown on you early in your career and you feel like that's something that sticks with you throughout. And
Mhm.
obviously, like I feel like you mentioned, like you've been known for your defensive prowess and that's continued here. But
Yeah.
also like the offensive game for you in
Mhm.
Miami, like it's been particularly nice. Like I think fans have been pleasantly surprised with not only just like how willing you are as a passer, but how willing you are as as a driver. The speed kind of stands out there. You make pretty good reads. Like, what do you think? You know, fans have to expect here, right? With kind of what you can provide on the offensive side of the floor. And do you think you have more to offer than kind of the labels that have been thrown on you since the beginning of your career?
Yeah, 1000%. I mean, I think every time I step on the floor is more to offer. I feel like the sky's the limit for my potential, no matter what age. I mean, I work extremely hard on my game, so I honestly don't know where I'll be in my career, but I like work extremely hard on my game. So offensively is never going to be a problem for me because I trust my work and the things that I do work on, I do in the game. It's not like I'm working on things that I'm not gonna do. And I watch film, like I'm true to the game. So like at the end of the day, shots gonna go in, shots not gonna go in. It's just like just a miss or make lead. For me, like I said, I hang my hat defensively. Do that end of the floor because that's effort and just things that I can control. I can't really control miss or make shots. But for me, just try to get to my spots. Try to get my teammates open shots. I feel like I can pass with the best of them. I feel like I can get in the paint. I feel like I shoot the ball. It's just like I said before, you get this label in the NBA when didn't have the best offensive season the year before when you're a rookie. So now you just get this tag. Like a prime example, a person I look up to is Patrick Beverley. He got this
Mhm.
tag when he got in the league. He can't play offense. So his offensive
Mhm.
game, when he has a bad offensive game, like when the best player has a bad offensive game, it looks completely worse because it's like, oh, he never can play offense. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like he had a bad game, just like LeBron James did or Luka Doncic did. It's the same way as the fact that they just have bad games. Like Patrick Beverley had 30 balls before. Like no one's saying
Mhm.
that, oh, he's the best scorer, but at the end of the day, like we're all professional basketball players. Like I wouldn't be in this league if I couldn't score the ball. Like I wouldn't be in this league if I couldn't shoot the ball. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6 feet. So it's like I don't really have that much to offer. I can play really, really good defense, but if you're 6 feet and you can't shoot the ball at all, it's gonna be hard for you to be in this league anyways. Like, and I got drafted top 10 pick, so obviously I can do the offensive end. Is just that I didn't really have the best years. I had to kind of the role was a little bit different when I was with the Kings because I had 3 point guards. You had De'Aaron, you had Tyrese, and then when you trade Tyrese, you got Sabonis, who's real ball dominant. So I don't really have the ball in my hands like that, and I never played the game like that. So it was like an adjustment where I had to learn, all right, how do I play off the ball and be effective? You know what I'm saying? Like not getting that many shots, but try to stay in the game, to try to play my game a little bit. So it was a little bit tricky. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
It's funny you mentioned Pat Bev because Pat Bev is one of the Heat's great regrets because they drafted him
Yeah.
and they brought him to camp with the Big Three team,
Mhm.
but they had a veteran team at the time, and so they
Yeah.
kept Eddie House instead of Patrick Beverly, and then Patrick went on to annoy the heck out of them for years and years as a defender, and he was like the prototypical Heat player, but which is what people talk about with you now, but he never actually got those minutes with the Heat. I was looking at your Twitter account here a little bit. You should follow Davion at Hoop Culture 13, and you tend to put up some motivational stuff. So this speaks to what you're talking about here. You said who you are becoming is more important than who you've been. I assume that's a life saying as well as a basketball saying, but does that apply in some specific way to you when you're posting that and a few of these other ones? What are you thinking? This other one, if you live for the applause, you're going to die by the booze, which obviously you've gotten off to a good start in Miami, but I know you're speaking about not being satisfied. But what do these things kind of mean to you when you're posting them?
That's a good question. I mean, it's kind of just thoughts in my head of like what I've been through in my career. Even when I was in high school and college, not highly ranked, um, kind of always being like the underdog, which I'm okay with being the underdog. But I know that every situation, every team, every place I've been the hardest working player. That's why I try to hang my hat on no matter what. Because I really believe that hard work really pays off, and no matter what people say, no matter people are gonna hate. Obviously, the thing I look at is like if people are not hating on you, that means you're not important, right? Like you're
Mhm.
not like we're not hate we hate on LeBron James, or people hate on LeBron James because he's the best player in the world. Like he has the most haters, but he's irrelevant, right? And it's like you always gonna have haters. That's the whole point. I mean, you're good at what you do. And for me, it's like I always been the underdog, and now it's like, oh, he's 6 feet. He can't shoot, he can't do this and that. But now it's kind of like for me, I'm just proving to everyone that I can do all that, and I'm gonna keep improving and keep improving. And then at the end of the day, I'm gonna be the best player I can be because I'm gonna work extremely hard at what I do.
One more here, and then a quick break, and then we want to get to some rapid fire with you as well, and I'll let Alex take over for some of that. Screen navigation is the thing that gets talked about the most with you.
Yeah.
It is very common for guards in the league to die on screens. You do not die on screens. Can you take us through your process? I mean, is it simply work, or is it angles? What is it that leads to someone being a great screen navigator?
Um, I mean, I think it's different for different people.
Uh,
I think for me, being at the height, being as strong, being as physical, being as fast, it kind of helps me because a lot of people that set in the screens are 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", and I'm kind of below their legs, and they don't ever want to get hit in their legs. Like that's the whole reason. Like when you box a big man out and you taught to go for, okay, put your bottom half on their legs, they don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like if you try to set a screen, I'm getting as close to my defender or my offensive player that I am because I'm the defender. I'm getting close as I can, and I'm running full speed. And if you hit me, then you hit me. But if you don't, then I'm gonna get right through it. But at the end of the day, like the person that's setting the screen is gonna feel me hitting them, regardless of the fact. Like for me, I've never been a person that down screens because I just feel like sometimes it's lazy. There's always a way to get through a screen, under, over. For me, it's never like always get through. It's like be able to not let your teammates have to help you as much.
Mhm.
So if I can get through a screen, if I can go under, if I can meet him on the other side, if I can go over and catch up to him, try to do my best of just playing one-on-one when the screen is right there, if that kind of makes sense. It's kind of tough for me to talk about it right now when we're not watching film, but
Right, right.
but that's the way I look at it.
All right, in a minute, we're going to get to some rapid fire here with Davion Mitchell. We appreciate him joining us from Cleveland before the Heat are going to play against the Cavaliers on a very quick road trip. Then they come back again at home for a back-to-back this weekend. We do want to mention another great sponsor, the Five Reasons Sports Network and Five of the Floor. It's water cleanup of Florida. You can find them at WCUFL.com. That's WCUFL.com. If you've got a leak in your home or place of business, reach out to Michael, Robert, his entire team. Their entire team based in Boca Raton, but they service the entire Tri-County area, and they will get it done for you. Also, they can work with the insurance company for you. And again, we mentioned the preventative maintenance because you don't really want it to get to that. So reach out to them at WCUFL.com. It's water cleanup of Florida. If you've got the schmutz, they got the guts. One quick thing, and I'm turning over to Alex. Is Off Night the best nickname in the league?
I think so. Yeah, I think so for sure. It's definitely catchy.
You got that at Baylor? Is that right?
Yeah, from three of my closest friends at Baylor, they were GAs there, and now they're coaches and from college teams now, and they came up with it when I was giving these off nights to these top 10 picks.
So
Sounds pretty
Davion,
good, Alex.
speaking of the defensive stuff here, the Heat are obviously like a team that's known, especially Spo as a coach, is known for quote unquote junking things up for
Yeah.
other teams with all the different defensive schemes he's willing to throw out there and willing to kind of change
Mhm.
on the fly. And, you know, the Heat are in general known for always being a team that swarms, whether it's, you know, like playing an aggressive defense where you're helping a lot. Sometimes it's in a drop. In years past, it's been the switch, willing to zone. And then the zone is not even like orthodox. Like it's people playing high up. Sometimes it looks like it's morphing from one type of zone to another in the middle of a possession, like
Mhm.
really freaky stuff.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you as a player, as a guy who, you know, loves to compete on the defensive end as much as you do and gives the effort that you do, to be able to like be deployed in so many different types of schemes and things where like it's kind of changing in the middle of a possession? Is that exciting for you? Do you have any preferences for like one that you like to play more? Is it a tough thing? Just how in general, how is it like to play for Spo in that specific aspect of the way that he coaches defenses?
I mean, I could see why he's one of the greatest coaches of all time for me, because I mean, the way he sees the game, the way he coaches the game is kind of like it's kind of easy for me, and it's a lot to learn. It's like I'm excited to learn every single day from him, because it's like for him, like the past teams I've been on, it's kind of just been these general rules of we got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. For him, it's like you just got to get it done, no matter how you get it done. It's not no set rules, just get it done, and that's what I love about it, because basketball is never just like a you got to always go over, you always got to go under the screen, you always got to meet them this side. It's just like find a way type of thing. And it's because the game is so fast, people are so good. It's like if you keep going over on ball screen on a person like Damian Lillard or one of those stars, they're gonna pick you apart, right? Like you got to sometimes switch it up, even though he can shoot, but he don't expect anyone to go under a screen. You know what I'm saying? So he's not really looking forward to, oh snap, he met me on the other side, because no one's ever done that. I feel like a lot of teams are, all right, we got to do this set rule. But with Spo, it's like different things. Like he'll switch it up. Even the zone, I'm still learning, which I think is gonna be really good, because we have really active defenders, and then Bam kind of shuts everything down there anyway. So we kind of can basically send it to him and Khalil, because I mean Khalil's blocking everything too. So it's kind of just like things like when we have the chemistry and play it long enough, I think we're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. I mean, when we get healthy and all that, and like we're going to be really good, because even in man, I think it. You about to say something?
You know, I was I was doing
Oh,
some offhand stuff to Ethan there, so I could give him a follow up right quick
oh,
here. But
okay.
Oh, go ahead, take it.
I wanted to ask you, so like now that you mentioned like how you feel like you could be one of the best defensive teams in the league, and you mentioned Bam there. How do you feel about playing with a guy like Bam? It feels like so, you know, guys talk about how unique he is all the time and how it's not just about covering 1 through 5, which is of course he can do, but the way that he can be thrown, as we're talking about, into every defensive scheme. And then not just him, I'm kind of throwing all these guys here into one question, but like playing with a guy like Bam, even like a guy like Haywood, and then on the younger end, Ware and Larson. Just how do you feel about some of the defensive talent on this team? And oh, and I forgot to mention Wiggins and Kyle Anderson as well. Just like it feels like there's a lot of guys on this team who kind of share your, I guess, like energy for wanting to, you
Yeah.
know, do so much on the defensive end. How has that been like for you?
I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, especially kind of like, a lot of teams that only have like two good defenders or three good defenders, I feel like we can make a five, like we can actually put a five out there that can actually defend 1 through 5. Like and they can defend really well at a high level, you know what I'm saying? And it's like we got length, we can rebound, we can score. Like it's that type of thing where we can play so many different lineups in a game if we need to get stops or if we need to score points. Just to win the game, you know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna need that in the stretch. But I think, man, the more and more we learn about each other, because I mean, obviously we're still learning. Like Wiggs is still learning the system. I'm still learning the system. Kyle is definitely still learning the system. We're still trying to be the best players we can be in their system because they've been playing 50 games together, so they have things that they do. So we're trying to add our stuff. We're also not trying to like, okay, we're trying to basically be team players, obviously, and we want to buy in. So we got to figure out what's the best way to do that and to help us win. I mean, and then when we get fully healthy, we get to do that actually in the game instead of just practice, you know what I'm saying? So actually go to war with against other teams that we're going to need, especially for the playoffs. I mean, all these games, close games that we're losing, I think this is always going to be good for us for the playoffs. I mean, because they're always going to be close games there. It's going to be a defensive minded game. And we have those players, and then you got, like you said before, like Bam is completely different. He's the best defender I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just honestly, to be honest with you, I ever play with or I ever seen, because you can guard anyone on the floor, you can rebound, you also score the ball. It's like not so many people is doing that. Like they're just not doing it. And they're catching lobs. He gets
Going
off.
over screens on the perimeter as a
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, like he's not I don't see no one doing that, honestly. I mean, then you got so many versatile defenders, like you said, like man, we can be really dangerous. I mean, but we just got to be patient, keep working, man, and keep believing of what we can do, believing in the system, believing in each other, and then we're gonna be really good.
Final one here, and really again appreciate Davion Mitchell joining us, and again, it's been a great start here. Obviously, you had the game winner, which I'm sure was a big moment here. For you personally, in addition to the team as a whole, which obviously you guys are in a play-in spot right now, there's a little bit of distance between 6 and 7, but there's also some distance between 7 and 11. So it seems like you're kind of in that mix. We'll see what happens over the last 20, 25 games of the season. But do you see this in any way as kind of an audition for yourself to show, look, I can be the long-term starting point guard of this team? Because it seems like you've got an open runway for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every day it's like I just try to be the best player I can be, like I said before. No matter where it takes me, no matter long term, like that's what I'm never really upset about. For me, I'm never really upset about being not saying traded because at the end of the day, it's like there's only a couple people in the league that's been on the team for their whole career, right? Like there's only been a couple people, and that's we can name it on our hands. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like if I can be in the NBA, be the best player I can be. If it's here, if it's somewhere else, like I just love playing the game of basketball, right? Like I want to be here. I want to be a part of this culture. I want to be a part of the system. I feel like I thrive here more than everywhere else. Honestly, I've been at. Um, but I'm just trying to get better every day, no matter where it takes me, honestly.
You got a chance to go out to eat in Miami at all yet?
Yeah, I go to this one spot. I ain't gonna lie, I've been to this one spot like 5 times. Yeah, I only go to one place,
I mean, we don't
KYU.
want to give it away for the
I'll just
paparazzi, but
I'll give it to him, KYU, man. Shout out to them. I don't even know how to say it, but I just say KYU, my spot.
it's gonna be your first endorsement deal with
Yeah,
the Heat. That's good. There are some Heat players have come to say, yeah, I go to the Hard Rock at Bayside. This is a lot better to say you go to KYU. That's a lot more cultured.
yeah,
That's a lot more Heat culture than going to the Hard Rock at Bayside.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining us, Davion. Good luck with the rest of the season. We'll see you back here in Miami, and hopefully you guys can make a little bit of a run leading up to the playoffs.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a nice
Thanks,
one.
Davion.